Hey everyone. So today I wanted to share something actually really interesting. This is kind of big news actually if you're a Desert Eagle fan or user or owner. I'll try not to ramble on here, but essentially I shoot a lot. I mean, I'm at the range a lot, and I put a lot of rounds through multiple Desert Eagles, and a lot of different ammos, brands and strengths, hotness, bullet weights, and for as long as I can remember, the ejection, the shell casing ejections on these, they're generally speaking to the right, but they can be anywhere. They could be to the left, they could be straight up, and they could be straight back. And the one thing I noticed, that the irritating thing was on the Magnum Research 350 grain a jacketed soft point, and it's Magnum Research brand. That's, being a 350 grain, it's a pretty massive round, and I've heard other people complain about this or make comments that you get hit in the face a lot with the 350 grain rounds, and in the forehead, sometimes they go off to the right, to the left, but they're in your face a lot, and it just seems with that particular round, and most people think that, well, you're limp wristing it, or it's got way more recoil, and you don't know you're limp wristing, and there's a lot of muzzle flip, and when the muzzle comes up, then hence it's going to hit you in the face. And I always kind of bought into that, but I've been seeing a lot of odd shell casing ejections, and just out of curiosity, I went and I asked Magnum Research technical department, hey, here's what's happening, is it just me? And apparently they've made a major change recently, and it actually solved the problem, and I tested it today, and so let's tear this down. We'll take a look. Just went to the range again today to test the new part and the theory behind the new part. Okay? So, they said, first of all, make sure your springs are fresh. Apparently they don't last too long, so these springs have to be fresh. This was the old one that was on here. I did use this as a sample, as an example. It's my workhorse black. I don't exactly want to do all this testing on my show pieces, but although I do shoot those a lot. But anyway, so this is the spring I took off. I put on fresh springs, and here's the big change. The big change is they have a new design, and it's a new design, which is big news for a Desert Eagle. I mean, how many times have they changed the design on anything on this here? Never. I mean, you have the Mark 7 and you have the Mark 19. You don't even see Mark 7s anymore, but the Mark 19s, it's essentially the same internals and guns. Even when you go for the L5, L6, all those other variants of the Mark 19, it's basically the same guts and the same, everything functions the same. This is, believe it or not, they recommended the new replacement gas piston, which is here. It's very different. I mean, this is significantly different. Let's see. Let me make sure we could see this here. Right there. It's shorter. It's a lot shorter. I mean, it's really shorter. And so I'm thinking, are you sure? Because where this goes all the way inside the port here, and there's a hole in there, and when you shoot it, the gas goes through and it pushes this out. This goes in the same place. Okay, so, but it only goes in just the tad, where this went all the way back in. Apparently, the hot rounds especially, the slide it's slamming back too hard. Anyway, so this is essentially the difference. Have a fresh spring, but they have this new revised piston. I mean, this is like big news. They never change stuff like this. So today I went to the range and my fresh spring, and I used the hottest rounds I could find. So I did a few magazines of the 350 grain, and did one magazine of the Underwoods, which are the next hottest round. Those two would probably have the most recoil. And the Underwoods were, in my last video, they were all ejecting very flat. They didn't arch, they were very flat, and they were ejecting hard to the left. All of them, all 7 rounds. That's all I brought at the time. Out of 4 magazines, okay, 4 magazines with different hot brands, the Underwood, the 350 grain, Magnum Research, etc., they all ejected almost exactly the same. They were very consistent, and each ejection was to the right and very flat. It was like out here, out here, out here, as opposed to up, this way, in your face, big arc. They were all the same, which, yeah, that was that. And I'm sure the fresh spring, okay, that might have helped. But this, I think is significant. I really think this is the main reason for the difference. So anyway, that's big news. Thought I'd share that. So as far as the 350 grain Magnum Research, and I know that's not my imagination, because there's people complain about that hitting them in the forehead. Well, I think if their theory is right, and I'm sure it is, well, they didn't point that out, but on your high recoiling rounds, this is slamming back too hard, and apparently that's really messing with the ejection and causing the oddball ejection patterns, shell casing patterns. Maybe this takes out some of the, has the same effect of fresh springs too, so you get less pressure, less push. I mean, it's like an old 60s hot rod trick, you know, with the compression. You take out that much compression, and you're probably going to have less energy pushing it out. And less energy pushing it out, in conjunction with a flatter spring, I definitely saw a difference. I have 4 different brands, and every single round ejected super clean, flat, and to the right. I've normally they're all over. I'm sure everybody, or most everybody, will agree. If you shoot these a lot and put a lot of rounds through, that's the typical 50 AE ejection patterns, usually to the right. Sometimes that's in your face or in your forehead, and sometimes to the left. But typical is a decent arch and to the right, or over your head, but way over your head, unless it's the 350 grain, and then it's in your forehead. And it's not because of limb wristing. It's not because of limb wristing. I know it wasn't because of limb wristing, because I shoot so many rounds. But anyway, I thought I'd share that. That's kind of big news, actually. I'll keep everyone posted if I see anything different. But this was quite a difference. Like I said, they haven't had a redesign of any part on this gun for, I believe, a long time. So there you have it.
Make sure it slams home.